What do you think about a certified Scrum Master? Or are you allowed to talk about it
Oh,
online,
yeah, I mean, I
on
can talk
YouTube?
about whatever. Yeah, I mean, as long as I'm not giving away, any client secrets, just like any software developer rules.
Okay.
But I can talk about whatever. What do I think about ideologically about certified Scrum Masters?
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. I guess it.
Or maybe I can frame it differently if you would like. What do you think about the act of becoming a certified Scrum Master? Is that a little bit better?
The act of it.
Yeah, because one is targeting particular people that are certified Scrum Masters versus the other is the process of someone having heavy influence by taking maybe a 3 day course
Yeah,
over the complexity of a software project that could take 6 months to a couple years, but they become certified in 3 days and they've never written code in their life. You kind of
yeah,
get it. You kind of get my opinion, but
yeah. I mean, I don't think the thing itself is bad, but I think the weight that's given is probably undue and like it seems to me like Scrum Masters will tend to become more like managers or masters or yeah, be held in a higher regard than the people that they're supposed to be serving. But I I don't know. It's this whole messed up world of this is the agile process that we're trying to bottle and compartmentalize and put into things so that people can actually understand that and follow it and then it just becomes a different flavor of waterfall. But I don't know. I pretty much hate most process, and any except unless it comes in organically. So
yeah, no, I say that because one of my friends, it's like Scott, I uh, I passed my Scrum Master certification. I'm a certified Scrum Master, and like, I was like, oh, congratulations, right? But in the back of my mind, I'm like, well, I mean, I'm glad, that's my homie. Like, I'm glad that he achieved something, right? But he essentially works with a whole bunch of, I would argue, hard-headed developers in which he's like herding cats, right? He's herding developers to get things done, and I'm just not convinced that taking a 3 day course should give you heavy influence on how software gets delivered. And I think most people that know more about agile than I do, they would say, no, Scott, it just means he's a facilitator. Well, remove the word master from it because I think words mean a lot, right? So don't call it a scrum master, call it a scrum facilitator or something. Because I think subconsciously we get tripped up and we end up, like you said, giving more weight or more influence to people than we really should because we don't know any better. We just see a uniform or a title and we pledge allegiance, or we become obedient to that particular system in which we believe that they have massive influence. So,
so maybe the first step they should become Scrum apprentices, and then they take their Scrum Master test to become a Scrum journeyman or a journey woman, whatever journey person. I'd, Journeyman's probably going to be. I don't know what the gender neutral term for that is, but people are going to probably attack that one eventually. And then they'll become Scrum Masters after many years of practicing. But I don't know. It's yeah, the whole. I mean, I think if you look at the just the core of it, I mean, it kind of makes sense. Maintain the process, or help the people remove blockers. You know, that's what they do. Um, make sure that the ceremonies and things get set up. Make it, to me, it seems like the whole entire point for their existence is really just to grease the wheels for developers, right? It's they try to remove friction, but then I don't think that's how it actually plays out in reality most of the time. So
Okay. I was just curious about your opinion.
yeah, I don't. Yeah, I like I've been in Scrum teams before, or have and I'm part of one now, but like the team decided what hated I hated about this is like the team decided, hey, we're going to try to do things this other way. We're going to try to do this things other way. So we wanted to go down to 1 week sprints instead of 2 week sprints. And then we wanted to do something where we do, instead of doing the backlog like a fixed increment, we wanted to do it more Kanban style. So we just had an ever evolving backlog, and we just take the top thing off all the time, um, so that we never have someone in the situation a week and a half into a sprint being like, I don't have anything to do. We didn't plan enough. It's like, no, it's just we constantly have work ready and going. But then and that was fine when we had this one person who was like, yeah, I like that. Let's do it. Go ahead. You guys make the decisions or whatever. And then, then suddenly we got two new people in who are like, well, this is not how Scrum is supposed to work. So we're switching back to 2 weeks, and we're gonna switch back to having a fixed increment because this area, this is how it's supposed to work, and then you calculate the velocity and blah.
Yeah, I don't like that part.
No, it's like this is what the team decided. The whole point of and how we wanted to work, and the whole point of Agile is to just like be flexible on that. And I think that's yeah. So I
So
think
what? Y'all changed because of that one person?
well, that's the thing, is that people in those positions are given way more weight than us. So it's like the organization's moving this way, so we're doing this. And
I love your voice impersonation.
I just yeah, I was so just peeved after the whole thing, because it's like we were operating at a very good pace. Like we had stories come in, we would pick them up, we'd be ready to go, boom boom boom, go to the next one. It was continual and ongoing and flexible, and we responded very quickly to changes, and like and then it's gotten worse. I don't know, there's like these scaled agile frameworks and stuff like that make it even harder to actually be flexible about something. Like you have to wait.
We talking about safe?
Yeah, safe, or yeah, I think safe is what it is. But like you have to wait for like 6 sprints before you can actually make a big change to the way what your priorities are. It's awful. So
Yeah, that's why I subscribe to the idea of developer anarchy. Are you familiar with that ideology?
no, but it sounds
It's,
awesome.
yeah, I mean you can look it up on YouTube, but my understanding is it's essentially uh, giving the respect and the power to the developers, where you remove the project manager. Um, I think you even remove the scrum master, and you just have developers that have one that have a direct connection with whoever the domain expert is. And like for whatever reason, we I guess we have reason to believe that communication becomes more complex, and meaning gets lost through translation, up and down the chain. So it's consolidating the communication path, or shortening the communication path, and actually giving developers that it's actually giving developers more autonomy where like they can just get the work done. So I don't know anything about the military, but I assume that there's probably a contract that gets put on a group of people or on an individual, and the SEALs or whoever, the assassins, they receive the order and they just do the hit, and that's it. You let them do it. They do it how they do it, right? Whereas like in software development, like I just feel like the people that don't build systems are the ones that are articulating how we're supposed to be doing it, right? And it's just I just think it's backwards, and I believe those people are just slowing down progress. But what doesn't help is when you just have, I would argue, 2/3 of professional developers just being code monkeys, and like they don't think for themselves. They literally just are no different from McDonald's workers, where like they just need someone to tell them what to do because they're so used to just following something instead of thinking on their own. And we don't even
Yeah.
we don't even
No.
need we don't even need formal training. Gone are the days of a bachelor's of computer information science, a bachelor's of computer engineering. Like, gone are the days of people demonstrating commitment and going through a formal process of critical thinking to 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 make decisions on their own. Now you just have people that are self-declared programmers, and like, I know I'm ranting, but this system is effed up, man. It's not going to get any better until more people die through the means of software, and that's sad that I said that. But like, instead of progressing, in which in cases the tools are progressing, the people are not, and it's just frustrating.
No, I mean, I feel you there. I hate every time that I feel like I'm treated like the code monkey, you know, in that regards. Like, no, this is just requirements. Just go do this. It's like, but this doesn't make sense. You haven't thought about this scenario, this scenario. I understand the code base. I can tell you this doesn't work very well, or I have a feeling this doesn't work well, which, I mean, sometimes that doesn't pan out, but a lot of times feeling as a developer, I think feeling is underrated. Like, you know, like this doesn't feel right. I think there's a specific name for when something feels right or doesn't feel right in Japanese or something like that. But it's, and
English is intuition.
yeah, yeah. And, or heuristics that doesn't meet a heuristic or match up with what your experience is, whatever. But they don't, it's like, no, just go do this. We can't change these requirements, or we can't, or we've thought of this, and you're, and it's like, but like I've gotten to the point where I'm not really as much involved in design conversations anymore. I just, like you said, I get the output, and I understand why and I'm just expected to do it, and I understand why a lot of the developers around me just do it. They just go out and do it, and they're happy, just not thinking through the well, what about these ramifications or this, and it's almost like if you do that, you're treated like you're a disruptor or a
Mhm.
or like but I mean, unless you but if you but 9 times out of 10 what you're saying can deliver some value, or at least help you understand why, or make them think about why they made the decision in the first place. um it's yeah, it's extremely, one of the things I hate most about software is just the treating, is that developers are kind of relegated to just coding, aren't treated like people that can think and be problem solvers and actually contribute in a meaningful way to the overall, business, other than just hacking. So, man, I don't know. I think honestly, I think I want to get. I really, if I continue around in software for a long time, I think I really want to get into doing more with startups, because I think you have way, way, way more opportunity to be that way with startups than you do with bigger organizations. because startups, they're bootstrapping or they're funded, but they don't have many layers of organization trying to creep on you. It's maybe a couple layers of people trying to do something new, and you can actually make this directly to the person in charge, um, make suggestions or talk about, they just give you the directive and expect you to figure out how to do it. Which is exactly because I had this for a little while. I was a contractor with a company, but we were contracted with another person who was starting this fintech company, and it was basically like we met once a week with the people who actually are like the CEO and whatever CTO and stuff, and they said we want to do this, and it's like, okay. And we just went, and me and the other developer just went and did it. We did everything. We did the coding, we did the deployments, we did our own process, we did all of it, and it was pretty cool to just have the freedom to make the technical decisions and without having to approve it with anyone or having someone tell you that, oh, you need to lock this down, or you can't have access to this thing because what? Well, idealism, ideally this would work like this and blah blah blah. Well, no, it's but
People go out their way to make themselves relevant so that they can continue collecting a paycheck. All right, I think that's what it
yeah.
is.
So
People try to let try to force their way into being relevant so that they can continue making money, because if you don't hear from them, if you don't see their name on an email thread about something that is an important decision, then they're afraid, and maybe with good reason, that, okay, why are they a part of this project? What value are they really contributing? Um, and I think that's just what it is self-preservation. 'Cause, I mean,
right.
I had something like that happen when I was like the architect for a government agency. They My whole thing is, and I'll keep it brief, but my philosophy still is defer decisions until I really have to make a decision, right? And so they were like, all right, we need to pick a server, all right. And I love how, like, when I'm the architect, but other people are telling me what I'm supposed to be doing. That's technical, right? We need to decide on the server spec and requirements, and I'm like, I don't think we do. It's greenfield right now, and like we just don't need to think about that right now. Like we can just focus on the UX designs and building out some prototypes to satisfy that, to make sure that we're on track, and we just don't need to worry about a server, right? So we could just mock out the service. That means that we don't need a server right now. And when more information trickles in, then I have better information on if I need a server, which I'll probably need a server. I'm not denying that, but when more information comes in, I can make a more informed decision, right? Versus wasting people's time and wasting people's money. And then, some uh, some lady that was like, I think another director, no, Scott, I think that we should identify a server right now, and we should just go ahead and handle that now. I'm like, okay, even though I'm the architect, okay. And then what happened was I sent out a request for I don't know, procurement, whatever you call that thing, for a server to get built up for us, or for them to spin up a server, whatever. And they're like, okay, great, but we need you to fill out this, 3-page form on the specifications that you need for this server. And I'm like, I don't know. The project just started. So I'm like, I just ignored their request for more information because I didn't have the information about the freaking server that I said we don't need right now. And then all of a sudden they kept on. When you open up a ticket, the the IT people support, they don't like when tickets stay open. I guess it
Oh
affects
yeah.
their bonuses or something. So they keep spamming me, for lack of a better term, like, "Hey, we didn't hear from you. We really need you to fill out this form if you want this to get done." And you know, beneath my breath, I'm like, I don't want this to be done. Someone is forcing me to get this done, and I was hired to make these type of decisions, but yet I'm apparently I have a puppeteer, and I was just getting angry because why did you hire me? Why are you paying me the money that you're paying me if you're not letting me control this? Like, why did you hire me? And it's happened at a couple companies where like I get hired as an architect, but then they're telling me how to do my job, right? Like not after I fail. They're telling me like literally on day two, you know, they're telling me what to do and the architectural decisions that they want me to make. And it's just annoying. I'm done ranting. But that's an
Yeah.
example of people that are trying to make themselves relevant by inserting themselves in the email thread and trying to dictate how other people do their jobs. And when I'm brand new, I don't have seniority to tell them, I have my role, you have your role. Thank you. I don't have seniority to do that yet. So,
Yeah. Well, who knows? Maybe you were literally just hired on so that if the project goes south, they have someone to blame. They don't really care about your decisions. There's directors and people that do that. They'll hire in contractors just for the purposes of having someone to take the
skate.
blame should they fail at the thing. So yeah. But anyways, this is way outside of I guess the scope of this thing. I did
Okay.
get some work on my table this last week. It's been really hot up here though, and my pole shed's like probably well over 100 degrees. So last couple nights I haven't been able to work on it, but Tuesday I did, and I got this kind of surround down. It's cooling down this weekend, so I should have some good hours on Saturday and Sunday to 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 work on it. I think I'm getting to the point where I need to do some staining and sanding and stuff like that. So that's good.
I saw pics of it. It looks nice. Not that I know anything about carpentry, but it looks like
in other news, so there's this competition going on in town here because we have this downtown that's kind of crappy or not crappy. It's getting way better, but they're trying to revitalize it. So they have this like competition or challenge is what they call it, where it's like you submit a business idea for downtown, and then they're gonna pick like from submissions the top 10, and then they're gonna move on to like the top three, and then there's basically like a prize package worth of like a bunch of services like design and logo and marketing and blah 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 for basically a downtown business. And I submitted an idea for that. We'll see if that goes anywhere. But I mean, that could be something that the whole brick and mortar, small community business type thing isn't something that I think that we people probably think about a lot anymore. But at least in software realms, software entrepreneurship realms, but something that could be a pretty good avenue for a business. So I submitted to that. We'll see if that goes anywhere. I'll probably get weeded out in first round.
or
But
are you saying that you're preparing to pivot from your game tables to helping out your local township with revitalization of something?
uh, I would be prepared if I ended up getting through the first round. But I was thinking about it. Even if I got through the first round and into the second round, there's a bunch of business development stuff in the second round. Let's say I don't make it to the third round. There's a bunch of business development stuff that you have to do in second round, like business plans and all of that, like working with people to put it together for a presentation that is just kind of like valuable education, I think. So,
I don't think
but
you go wrong if you have a dedicated spot for food trucks. That tends to be popular down here.
Yeah, well, our town's well, there's two problems. Our town is like notoriously against food trucks for some stupid reason. I think it's because people on the city boards and stuff tend to own some restaurants, so they're like, oh, we don't want competition. Um, so like there's that, and then plus like food trucks in the wintertime don't work out too well as well.
Oh, you're in the
So
north. I keep forgetting that.
yeah. But we do have food trucks. I mean, we have like some breweries where they'll sit outside the food trucks, but they have like these extra special permits to sit outside those breweries, but then like they can't go anywhere else. It's like only in these particular places can
Well,
you hawk your goods.
so
So
down here in Miami, you have these lots that are in parks usually, um, and what happens is on certain days, that lot is opened up for food trucks to come. So you have the same food trucks that migrate on different days throughout the city,
yeah,
and they usually have it's more than just food trucks. They usually have venues there as well. So people selling like I don't know jewelry, and then you have a magician that's has a platform where they're doing magic tricks for the kids, and there's tables and chairs set up for as an audience. So it's more than food trucks. It's like a little small town event, for like 300 people. And it works, right? We have one down the street from me every Wednesday, from like 6 o'clock to like 10 o'clock in the evening. They have
yeah,
a
like
magic show. They have like a dozen food trucks. People bring their dogs, and it's just very chill. It works, but it's
yeah,
not every day. It's a different spot every day. So
yeah. And this town is too small for it. Maybe down in the Twin Cities they might have something like that. They do have food trucks that drive around in the cities, so but
yeah.
but yeah, so I submitted to that. We'll see if I get weeded out in the first round. I submitted an idea for a it's along the same veins. It's a game, the board game cafe is what it would be. So and there's I've looked it up. This the thing about since about 2016, there's been a ton of them popping up in cities all over. So I think the business model is kind of like a bowling alley would be. You basically come in and pay for either by the hour or by the day or whatever. And then you have access to all these different board games, and then you buy like coffee and drinks and sandwiches and stuff like that. Um,
Okay.
but we'll see. I don't really have my hopes up. It sounds like there was 70 some submissions last year. So the you know I'd be have if you get maybe 20 more, I'd have a 1 in 10 chance to getting into the first round. So we'll see what happens. I just hope that they don't come out with another like boutique shop or like another little just sandwich shop, or I don't know. The first one that won was like a soap company, or like a soap company, and then the next one was like a bakery. So
You could put in a skating board rink. That's popular. They set one up where I'm at. We're very progressive down here, and since they put that in, like people have things to do, man. Of course, it caters towards young men between the age of like 12 and 30. But
yeah, the town that's a couple hours north of here put one in, and then the town that the town that I lived at for a while, the smaller town that even had one. I don't think this town does though. Surprised because it's like kids like to skateboard and rollerblade and stuff. So bike, BMX type stuff. So
I think
I don't know.
The city of Cleveland, I think they have plans to put in a motorbike park because they get tired of people with ATVs and motorbikes driving up and down the city streets and getting chased by the police. So I thought they passed whatever you want to call it to build a park where they can safely ride their ATVs and motorbikes. I think it was a couple $1 million that they allocated to build it.
Cool. So, anyways, that's where I'm at. So I should have more work on the table this weekend, and then I'm out all next week in South Dakota. So
Cool.
I will miss next week, but you should find someone to fill the time slot so you can
I
just
know. I
keep.
thought it was today, so I text messaged someone that still asleep, and he never responded. But I was just going to do it by myself in live stream.
Gotcha. So so you made a really sweet back end in F sharp now and Elegant Solutions.
Uh, I mean, I think it's well thought out, but make long story short, how do I share my screen? Present to everyone. We're in Warp Drive right now. So, I had ran into a hiccup where, like when you run IIS Express, like it's essentially a web server on your local machine, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that works well when you're like testing out a service, even if you're doing like a WPF application. But, and I thought I've done this before, but I'm not sure. But like when running an emulator, it, an emulator, or an Android emulator is like essentially its own operating system with its own resources. And so like it wasn't able to communicate with the local web server that I had running on my local machine.
Hmm.
It didn't know what localhost colon backslash or whatever that URL is. It didn't know it, so I had to install some Visual Studio extension called Conveyor, allow remote access to development web server, in order for my emulator to talk to it. So I mean, it took me probably like 3 hours to troubleshoot, even after one to diagnose the issue, and then two to actually troubleshoot why the Visual Studio extension wasn't working. But I finally got that to work. Now I'm able to load um, data into my app, specifically convenience store items and restaurants menus into my application from a web server that's connected to a database. I have this app mode built in here for connected and disconnected. Uh-oh. Meaning that for for test reasons, I can essentially pick if I want offline dependencies that come from my test API, like order request test API, shopping cart test API that feeds in mock data, or if I actually want to, well, that's for disconnected, right? Or if I actually want to connect to a web server, then it loads in the actual dependencies that I would need to talk to um, web API. So to demonstrate that, I could,
Oh, look at that nice background.
dude, I don't know what to do in regards to UX design. I'm trying. So like all this stuff is being pulled in from SQL Server, right? So like
Mm-hmm.
my database is loading up, but my my filters are now working. Um, if I add a sprite and then I decide that I want to do some snacks, like some Oreos, and if I want to load in some restaurants, and I do Grand Slam Slugger and the Oreo milkshake, then like all this stuff is now connected to a web server. This is my database over here.
Mm-hmm.
That's what my schema looks like right now. Of course, I didn't implement suggestions yet. Search suggestion. Start over. I have not implemented search suggestions yet, but anyways, this is what I've been wanting to demo for like I think 3 weeks now. Um, uh-oh. I hit checkout. Why isn't this working?
Because it's a demo. Nothing works in the demo.
All right. Well, that worked the dozen times that I was messing around with this yesterday. Anyways, so make long story short, I'm now able to load um, my my data from a back end. In addition to that, where am I at? That service is this right here, right? That hence it's running, and it's essentially, of course, people want to. Oh, that's him right there. All right, the person that I was going to swap you out with. Uh, so this is my shopping cart service, and my controllers look like this right now. Of course, this quote controller is going to go into a different service, but store, restaurants, menu categories. I'm migrating this carrier's controller and quote controller to a different service called delivery request, and that's what I'm going to be working on and hopefully demo, I guess, by myself next Friday. So then I can stamp that regardless of its validity, that I have experience building out microservices because I'm trying to be relevant, quote unquote, based on the conversation that we had earlier. And yeah, I don't know why this. Let me try doing this one more time.
You should just come up with your own certification for certified microservices architect or something
I'm
like
sure
that.
someone else has already done it before.
You could capitalize on Scott Nimrod certifications by Scott. Certified microservices architect.
I would have to say Bizmonger.
Bismonger, certified Bismonger architect.
It's registered
master.
in the state of Florida. All right, so like, if I do check out like this, all right, yeah, that's weird. Anyways, so I got to troubleshoot that. It was working last night, but whatever. Let me stop sharing and go back over here. So yeah, I'm making progress. In summary, I got the shopping cart service to work. Now I'm working on the order or the delivery service, which is going to be its own service, siloed from shopping cart. And I plan on demoing that next Friday by myself. And then 2 Fridays from now, I would like to begin work on the immutable database, hence data store, so I could do event sourcing. And things are slowly coming together. And then maybe a month from now, I could begin development on the courier application. So that's it.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
So I'll have the in terms of what I was going to do, I should have the whole top portion, I think, done by the end of this weekend. That'll be up on Twitter for a demo, I guess, for the one I'll miss next week. But I have a feeling that'll be all done, unless I run into a bump with the whole staining aspect of it. I already run into a little bit where the gray that I want to use in some of the places isn't gray enough for my liking. So I might try doing something odd with staining plus whitewashing and see if I can get a gray that way. But anyhow, so that'll be my thing. Still looking for a job?
Me?
Yeah.
I had a number of interviews. Like things are picking up. I don't know if you're getting more phone calls by random recruiters, but things are picking it up. Are
I don't
picking
seem
up.
to get any. I haven't. I occasionally will get like a LinkedIn. Hey, look at these jobs over here, but I don't get much anymore. But I guess I've never been an active looker. So I
Yeah,
guess if you're actively looking, there's probably a bunch of people trying to hawk jobs to you. So
yeah. I have my third interview with a company today. I think it's the offer. Why else would they? And it's only for 15 minutes, right? So I'm thinking it's like a offer in which maybe they want to take 15 minutes to try to negotiate it down or something. But when I
yeah,
told them I want it, that's my guess. Else, usually, if people say that they pass on you, they wouldn't schedule a video conference with you. They'll just send you an email if they do that. Um,
yeah. Hopefully they don't ghost you.
I'm used to it. I'm used to it. But that one is actually doing F sharp on the on the back end. But it's maintenance. It's no greenfield. But I don't think that would be too much of a problem. If anything, I would probably learn some techniques that I never knew about working on their code base.
Yeah. Well,
So
plus, there's some good to working in legacy code bases though. Like, um, depending on what they're having you do, but there's a lot of opportunity to take something and make it better. So, like, I don't know. I used to think greenfield would be all fun, but really, like, it'd be much more fun, I think, to go through a code base and find what I can delete. Like, I think that would be a much more pleasurable experience. Like, oh, I don't need this anymore. I don't need this. I can redo this, and now I don't need this.
oh, you're assuming that this code base has like a safety net of automated tests
Huh? Oh, well, yeah. I mean, you could write the tests ahead of time to scaffold it all around it, but kind
for
of you
a,
have to. But
for a 500,000 line code base or more that you don't have any experience with. Like I'll be scared to delete anything just because somehow, some way, there's a dependency that my static analysis tool never discovered, and I delete. I mean, I guess source control is there for a reason, but sometimes you
yeah,
don't find out about a bug until like 2 3 weeks, and then you're like, oh shoot, that's what that was for, right? So
yeah,
yeah, I would be too scared to delete anything if there weren't any tests. At least when there's tests, if it's a greenfield project, I delete whatever, regardless of if there's a test or not. And then they're like, Scott, you broke it. I didn't break ish. It built. There's no test for it. That's not my fault. Next time you guys write tests. And I've done that before, right? But
hmm
if it's like something that's already solidified and making money, and then I come in and there's no test whatsoever, I'm not deleting anything. So
yeah. Well, anyways, so
uh,
well, hopefully that'll turn out well for you. But
we'll
but
see.
you got to keep working on the beach app.
They have a campus in Toronto, Columbia, San Diego. Um, all these places are places that I would move to, right? So
Yeah, you can move to Toronto and be north of me and become a Canadian.
if it were up to me, I would pretty much, or I could work remote. If it were up to me, I would just every 3 months just rotate to a different town and work in one of those offices. Only thing is I'm a renter and I'm not a homeowner, and I kind of like the crib that I have here, but I would have to give that up, and then the stress of finding another place and how expensive it may be. But
You just need to just buy an RV and live out of that, and you can just drive wherever you want to go.
it has a certain stigma to it.
What? Oh, like what?
Trailer park,
No,
you
no,
said
no, no. Like a really nice, like
like a
you
rapper
know,
mobile home, like
not a
a
mobile
rapper
home,
tour
like
bus.
like a record tour bus, like a
like with rock and roll people chilling when they're on the road on tour.
yeah, like an RV. Like it's got really really nice
What,
stuff, fold out sides and toilets and showers and everything.
what's the difference between an RV and a mobile home?
I don't know. I think they're all a recreational vehicle versus a mobile. I think that they're probably in the same vein, but I think of a mobile home like a more of like you said, a trailer park type thing, but that's a trailer. Uh, I don't know. I think they're the same thing, but an RV sounds probably is more euphemistic. I would guess. But yeah, you can get some really sweet what like the presidential candidates go around on. Like really big, humongous, like they look like a bus,
Yeah,
but
three
they
hundred
have like
thousand dollar mobile
bedrooms.
homes.
Yeah, yeah. There you go.
Maybe I'll rent one or lease one for like 3 months and then give it back.
Yeah, you can do that too.
Man, you gotta have me googling this stuff now, but I don't know where I could park it. I don't think you could park it anywhere. I have to drive to the Everglades if I want to park it. So,
No, there's RV parks at all because there's like at least up here there's actually people who do this in retirement. What they'll do is they'll buy one of these things and then they don't have a permanent home, or they do. They have like an they'll have like a address PO box and like wherever they want to have as their main base, and then they just drive these things around the U.S. and live out of these like uh, RV parks, not mobile home parks or like trailer parks, like they're like higher end campgrounds or whatever. They have all the hookups. You just plug everything in. You're like around by nature. There's usually a lake by them or whatever, and they have the thing to dump your poop into.
and then I
And
buy one and I try to move into the park and there's white flight and they all leave because I'm bringing down the value of the park. That's what's going to
no, no, not if you roll in with
happen.
a really really nice RV. They'll be like, oh, that guy's got it figured out. He's
on
got the deluxe
on
model.
Dayton's on Dayton's.
Yeah, we went to this one, and so we went camping over by in Minnesota. There's a bunch of this one was an Army Corps of Engineers park, and we went camping over there. And there's people have literally like they have a satellite dish for TV that they have just sitting out in the thing, and they've got just like it. I mean, it's like a home. It's just, but it's in like this really nice campground. The lake's right there. You know, it's pretty. It could be a pretty good lifestyle, but I don't know. Could be also really expensive. I really don't know.
All right, well,
But
it's been real. You said you're MIA or whatever next Friday.
yeah,
All right.
yeah, I'm on South Dakota for a family trip. So
Indian reservations. What's in South Dakota?
the Black Hills. So on the west side of it,
Was
there's
that a park?
the oh gosh, what am I thinking of? Mount Rushmore. The
Oh, that's
president's
cool.
head,
I got into a
and
drunk argument saying that like 500 years from now, people are going to look at Mount Rushmore and think aliens did it. Like, I mean, I think it's an amazing thing, right? Like, how do you chisel people's faces into a mountain? Anyways, it was a drunk
yeah,
argument I had with somebody.
oh, it's pretty cool. Yeah, and then there's like I don't know. There's some other stuff like where I don't know. There's like it's tourist trap stuff, and I'm not looking forward to that. I want to see Mount Rushmore, but pretty much everything else on the list, I'm like, ugh.
I thought Mount Rushmore was in Wyoming, though.
No, it's in South Dakota.
Okay.
Yeah,
I keep forgetting
my
Wyoming is even a state. They should deprecate it. They should just make it like Puerto Rico and just make it a territory. Who lives in Wyoming?
well, people do. Ranchers, maybe. I don't know.
Reservations. Like, certain states should be deprecated. Wyoming, North Dakota, South Dakota,
Hey, North Dakota is awesome. Leave that alone.
Maine. Any state that doesn't have a professional sports team in basketball, football, I'm missing one. Baseball, they should just be deprecated. Like if you have less than 1 million people living there, like you're just a territory.
Nah.
Alaska too, that's territory. Like, all right, that's my drunk talk.
There's some good things about South Dakota though. Actually, there's a good reason to work out of South Dakota. They don't have any. I think they don't have any income tax for state income
They have
tax.
oil up there, don't they?
North Dakota does. They've got a ton of oil in North Dakota. But and there was actually, it was kind of fun. There was like an oil rush or like a gold rush to North Dakota a couple years ago,
Mm,
and like in Minot, North Dakota, they were literally building tent cities for all these oil workers to come up. There were like brothels and
yeah, I
casinos that
bet.
were operating. Like it was like the Wild West up there.
I mean, they were making $100,000 with no with like high school diplomas. Like, I would go up there too.
Yeah,
No.
yeah. I mean, well, there's like because of all that and they had to pay like people at like if you were working at Taco Bell, you were getting like $17 an hour to work there because they had to pay that. So, but now I think a lot of that settled down. There's still a lot up there, but like because the like oil prices went down, I think they capped a lot of them and they're waiting for it to go back up. And then once the oil prices go back up again, they'll reopen and it'll be a big, hoopla to get work up there again. But yeah, it was pretty crazy. Like people couldn't afford their
Mafia
land.
probably moved in, or they probably developed the mafia up there, and homicide verse 48.
Yeah, it's nuts. But
Well, have fun. Don't get caught up in anything.
yeah, I won't. It's all family stuff. So my brother lives out there now too, on that side of South Dakota. He used to live on the side closer to Minnesota, which is basically just flat and not a lot. So, but still get to see him, my nephew. Yeah. All right. Well, keep working at your create a couple services so you can be a microservices architect. And then
I'm gonna put it on my resume like literally like next week.
you should just start a certification, then get all your certifications
You should write the
from yourself.
website. You should do the website for me.
I bet you could go on find a certification course that's like whatever. And
I know it's out there. Well, I know someone decided to create it. Right?
I thought it would be
It's
fun
not
to.
accredited by anybody, but I'm sure people probably created a microservice certification course. Now, if it was like Microsoft or Amazon, yeah, I would probably do it just so that I could have their names attached to it. Right? It has validity, but
I've thought about doing like just going around and getting all of these really really easy certifications that people put behind their name as initials, like like a certified nursing assistant,
PMP or whatever.
like certified Scrum Master, or like a certified nursing assistant, or like a notary. Get the notary certification, and then be able to notarize. I think they've got certifications for like, gosh, I don't know, just like various trade skills and things like that are
I
like
would
one boiler's license. I don't know.
I would be a certified signature. What do you call the people that they get subpoenas to go to court to detect forgery? I would get that certification because that
Huh. I don't know. I
like
thought, well, notarizers, they're like there to make sure that the signatures are valid, but
right, but there's people that just like when you watch in the TV shows
oh
like the
yeah.
murder mysteries, they had the magnifying glass and they'll be like, yeah, these signatures don't match up. This was forged, and they get paid by the courts as an expert witness. So you should get a cert in that. Yeah. Now you have me thinking about all this stuff.
But it wouldn't be fun to just have like your name with a bunch of initials after it, like all of these C's, like you know what I mean?
I'm sure that there's someone in the Guinness Book of World Records that probably has like 2 dozen of them.
25 certifications that are usually pretty easy to get. Let's see what we
A
got here.
lifeguard, but lifeguard
Whitewater,
works for EMS though, so that might be kind of hard.
whitewater raft guide, private pilot. That's not so easy. Certified construction flagger. I'm at CCF. Oh, you could get a Knight of Sealand. That's a good easy
What
one.
about a nightclub promoter? Is there a certification for that?
I bet there is.
People that hang out on the street
Patrol.
corners trying to get people inside bars.
Handing out cards. Archery, personal trainer. Get your personal trainer one. Forklift license. A bounty hunter.
That's not bad. I used to tell people I was a bounty hunter when I would approach them. They're like, "What do you do?" I'm like, "I'm a bounty hunter." They're like, "Really?" I'm like, yeah. They're like, "What's that like?" It's like, I subcontract for ICE. I round up illegal aliens, and I get paid bounties for it. And I'm like, "Oh, really?" And I would just stick to it, and I would have them believing it for like 2 days if I'm still hanging around though. It was funny. Anyways.
Scott, the bounty.
Working with ICE. They had those raids going on last weekend, or did they postpone it?
No, it was last weekend. And from what I heard, it was a pretty
Light.
just normal affair. It was just a multi, city strategic strike against people who are well over their like stay, and I don't know. It's focusing on I think the more dangerous ones.
I don't
So
think they were in Miami. I would have saw some signs of it.
here's one for you: licensed alligator trapping agent down in Florida.
Down here, they're paying people in the Everglades to. I think they're paying. Well, it depends on the weight, but I think on average, like $100 per python to snatch up because they're killing everything. But you think I should get a certification in that? No.
Oh, here's something. Apparently, you can apparently declare yourself as a free agent for the NBA and put it on the resume. Your resume. Apparently, all you have to do is declare yourself eligible for the draft.
Well, that's not that much different from people declaring themselves professional developers
Yeah,
with
it's
no formal training.
a
Don't get me
software
wrong.
agent.
There's self-taught programmers that are better than me in building systems,
Oh yeah.
but they represent like 0.01% of the 200 million developers that are out here.
Yeah.
Give me one last certification I can get. That's easy. What about a certified hedge trimmer? Hedge trimmer?
I bet you can. Oh, here's certifications that pay well. A bookkeeper, diagnostic medical sonographer, event planner, occupational pharmacy tech, travel agent. Oh, web designer developer. That's not a certification.
What about trench digger to lay cables? Is there a certification for that? I once took out the electricity of an entire condominium complex.
You could become a Microsoft Office specialist, forklift operator.
I drove a forklift. I was a machinist. I did a lot of things. What about a stock boy? Is there a certification for that?
Probably not.
Well, you could get a bartender license.
Yeah. I was gonna say
I think that takes a week, though. I think there's a lot to learn.
But you could get your food safety license or certification too.
What does
Sounds
that
pretty
mean?
easy. It's like that food should be at this temperature or that temperature and clean, like
Oh, so you're like an auditor or something?
a restaurant manager. We'll get
How,
these.
how much? How easy is it to be an appraiser? So I could walk into someone's backyard and tell them how much their garage is worth and their house is worth.
I don't know, building instruction or whatever.
or
I
code
don't know what a
compliance.
policeman
You
would be.
probably need to. You probably have to have experience with construction if you do code compliance and you work for the city and you write people tickets for violations because they have too many divots in their bricks.
Yeah, you could probably, you could probably become a. It's not too difficult to become a, what do they call it? A public agent. What is it? It's kind of like it's like a CPA, but it's not. It's like you can represent people in court as like an accountant. But anyways, we're getting way off track. I got to get to work here. So
What do you call this? No, this is more important. What do you call the people that are paid snitches for the police departments, where they buy drugs from people and then they tattletale like, yeah, yeah, I bought drugs from this address. I want to be certified in that.
confidential informant.
Yeah, can I get a certification in that?
Um, Let me see. I don't know. Certified confident. Well, you could start it if anything. You could start certifications in just about everything. So as long as the government doesn't crack down on you and being a school or something like that. But I don't know.
All right, it's been real. This has been one of the most productive mastermind sessions I've ever had. So, good stuff.
Well, you're in the doldrums of just working on it. So
I'm gonna make sure I post this on LinkedIn too. All right, Sean.
certified. You could become a certified Google Hangouts operator.
I'll probably do more Google Hangouts than anybody. Hence, they're closing it down August 1st.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, we'll have to figure out what we're gonna do. There is like a YouTube Hangouts, but I don't think you can share your screen.
Well, I went through YouTube. Like YouTube,
Yeah.
Google owns YouTube, and so I will go. I will go to YouTube.com, click on uh, something Creator Studio Beta, and then I will go to other features, live events, click on that, and then it will have the YouTube Hangout things, and I will launch it through there. So I'm not sure what the difference would be.
Yeah. I think you can literally just start, be like, go live on YouTube, and then you can add people
Oh, you
in
know
as a
what? Okay.
conversation. But I think the give there is that you can't do the screen share like you've been doing. So
I'm sure Google Hangouts isn't the only. Well, no, it's on. Yeah,
it's rough.
figure something. We'll figure something out. All right.
All right.
See ya.
See
Bye.
ya. Bye.